Hello, I want to welcome everybody to today's episode of the COPEC Financial Wellness Webcast. We're real excited about our program today. We're going to be discussing many of the important areas of a profile on LinkedIn with Jeff Young, an expert with LinkedIn, and we'll get to him in just a second. Today is October 21st. And so first of all, I want to make sure everybody has a chance to review this disclosure. You can also see the disclosure on the COPEC website at www.copeceducation.org. At the bottom, there is a disclosure section about COPEC, affiliated companies, and the board and things of that nature. So please feel free to look that over. Also, a quick review. COPEC is a 501c3 that started back in 2004, providing community education. Over on the right side of the screen, you can see a lot of our expert speakers who will be on from time to time, sharing their expertise in that industry. Also, you can see this is a question Q&A discussion back and forth, so please participate, send in some questions. We'd love to have you. Lastly, on the COPEC portal, go ahead and take a look at those different options. There's a lot of great tools for you to access, and including Financial Wellness Fridays at 11 o'clock, retirement decision workshops that are held 3 or 4 times a year. Make sure you sign up for our newsletter. And then also we have the Wellness Library that'll be up and running shortly. And then the contact us if you have any questions, or if you're part of an organization, let us know there as well. With no further ado, we'll go ahead and bring in Jeff Young, the LinkedIn guru, and excited to have you, Jeff, if you could join us. And there you go. And thank you so much for joining us again today. This is always a fun exercise for many of us who are technology and social media challenged. So thank you for joining us, and hopefully we can have a really good discussion today.
Well, greetings again, Jay. It's nice to be back with you again. You and I have been doing these kind of things for many, many years now. I think I actually first joined up with COPEC back in 2008. So it's always a lot of fun to be back again and have a conversation with you. And as you said today, we're going to concentrate on the LinkedIn profile. Before I get into sharing anything else, I want to cover a couple of things that are related to the profile in general. Okay, I'm going to concentrate on maybe 5 or 6 different areas and mention 5 or 6 different areas that you really need to have in line and correct in order to get found. And that's kind of what I want to talk about. First of all, is that the object of this is to be found. Being on social media and just being there for being their's sake is not why you're there. You're there to actually get found. And the number of views that you get to on your profile is a good indicator as to whether or not you've got anything that anybody's interested in seeing. As an example, I get approximately 45 to 50 views of my profile every single day. Now, you know, I didn't start out that way. I mean, I got 4 or 5 views a week when I first started. So changing things and making sure that you have something for people to see out there is extremely important. Now, the other thing that's extremely important is that you got to realize that this is, after all, social media, and people are kind of hopping from place to place all the time on social media. So the point being here is that if someone actually does come to your profile, you need to make sure that there's something really extremely good for them to see there, because you only get, and I'm not the only expert who says this, you only get 7 to 10 seconds of people viewing your profile and deciding whether or not they want to stay or not. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about, is putting something on your profile that will actually make them want to stay. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go through 5 or 6 different things, and I'll share my screen and we'll see how this works out. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. I think that'll do it, and then I'll go back over to my profile. So now you should see actually my profile.
And just a quick reminder for those that are listening. Can you give a comment a little bit again, because the focus of these programs has a little bit to do with the financial success of our individuals, whether they're looking for a job, whether they're wanting to be known, whether they connect with people that might help them advance their careers. Can you give just a brief, maybe 1 minute talk about how this applies to that.
Well, it applies to you as a professional because this is your professional networking place. And everybody knows networking is like air. You need it to survive. And right now, especially after COVID, the only place that you can network is kind of online. So LinkedIn is becoming even more important in terms of whether you're finding a job or whether you're an entrepreneur or a solopreneur or whether you're just a business person. LinkedIn is the place to be. So that's kind of where we focus this and allow people to get something on LinkedIn that other people will. And one of the objects of having a LinkedIn profile is to brand yourself as well. Jeff Bezos, the guy from Amazon, calls your brand. He says your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. Well, this is something that people will see when you're not in the room. It is basically a platform where you can put your story out there and your brand out there in order to get found, in order for you to make that next connection, because again, it's a networking tool. And it makes a huge difference. It's made a huge difference for me in terms of how many opportunities I have to talk with other people that I might want to interact with or collaborate with.
Yeah, and you mentioned that there's a lot of platforms out there that people might hop from, but I think it's pretty well understood that LinkedIn is one of those stable foundational platforms for people to advance a career, to be known, not just to be known because I have a interesting picture of my family, but to be known in their circle of influential people that might be able to help them advance whatever they're trying to do. Have a good career, but have a good LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
Let me phrase it. Have a good resume, right? Right. You always need to make sure your resume is up to date, but also make sure you have a good profile, have good connections and relationships. Yeah. And this is the foundation of that.
This is the social media aspect of you as a professional. There's no better place, according to all of the people. And LinkedIn's been around for quite a while now, so it's not going away. And it becomes even more important every single day. So
thank you.
So when someone comes to your profile, one of the things that I want to give you is a kind of a tour here that I'll mention all 5 of them and then come back to each one, 5 or 6, and then I'll come back to each one, because pretty much you get, as I said, 7 to 10 seconds when somebody comes to your profile. Now, this is what I see when I come to my profile, so it looks a little bit different when you go to look at my profile. As a matter of fact, you might even have a slightly different interface. LinkedIn loves to change stuff. This menu bar up here at the top may actually be white for some people, okay, because they've actually just changed the interface, and LinkedIn is constantly updating the look and feel of this. But this stuff here will remain the same. So I want to mention the 5 things that I want to cover, maybe 6 if I've got a little bit extra time. The 5 things I want to cover are the things that are important for you to have something there so that people can see who it is you are and what you represent as a professional. So they are, in not necessarily order of importance, but in order from top to bottom. Your background photo, sometimes called a banner, that's this, okay, where it says I'm a teacher. Your photo itself, I'll come back to all of these, okay? Your name is extremely important because that's kind of who you are and how people will usually find you, because they'll look you up by name, okay? Your professional headline, which is this just below your name, okay? That professional headline tells people who you are and what you do. Your about section, okay? Your about section used to be called a summary, okay? You could call it a bio. You could call it it's about you, okay? And we'll talk a little bit more about that, but that's where you get the most text to describe yourself, is right there. And then the final one, and all of these are what are called above the fold, okay? They get seen by someone who comes to your profile and they don't even have to scroll, okay? And the last one, the 6th one, is called your featured section, which allows you in a social media environment to feature certain items inside of your profile so that they have front and center and will stay there front and center. Okay. A lot of things that you do that when you provide content on a social media is it goes out there and it scrolls away. Well, this stuff doesn't scroll away. It stays there, okay, from the featured section standpoint. Okay. So now let's go back and let's talk about each of these individually. Let's talk about the banner, okay? This is one of the very first things that people will see. So it's one of the very first opportunities you have to brand yourself, to put something out there. And it is a picture, but it also needs to be not just a picture, but it needs to be a picture with some words on it as well that tell people a little bit about yourself. Now, it gets uploaded to LinkedIn by a picture. That's where this little button comes in. If you click on it, that button will allow you to upload a picture. One of the common mistakes that I've seen people make, and if you want to differentiate yourself, creating one of these banners, creating one of these background photos is a great way to do it. Because I did a little straw poll and I looked at 20 random profiles. 16 of those profiles didn't even have anything. So if you don't have anything, you have this blue blank picture. And in the new interface, that's actually a pea soup green picture instead of a blue picture, but it's a blank picture. So it's blank real estate. It doesn't say anything about you. It can't help you. Okay. Now, a lot of people are a little taken aback. It's like, oh, well, how do I do anything that has to do with graphics? What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to create this thing and put it up there? Okay, well, let me give you a little bit of a hint here. Okay, there is a place called canva.com. That's canva.com. Go there and do a search on canva.com. Look for something that says LinkedIn banner template. And that will actually allow you to and walk you through the process of putting together the graphics and the words. And that's exactly how I did this. I found this picture over here of my boy in blue, buddy, okay, because I'm a teacher and what's your superpower? I needed him. I found that out there on the web for free. I put it out there. I uploaded it to Canva and then used it. Then I put some words out here that says, hey, my brand is I'm a teacher. What's your superpower? And there's my hashtag. Okay. And then also part of my brand is that I do seminars for free. That's why I've loved working with COPEC for this long. I do 200 LinkedIn seminars over the last 3 years, and I'm still doing them. Okay. So I'll probably do even more than 60 or so this year in the same way. So that's the first place that you can brand yourself. Put it out there, put some words to and the music out there, if you will, so that people can see who you are. Okay. Second one is your photo, because obviously it's about you. It should have your photo on there. But this is not Facebook. So I highly recommend that selfies need not apply. Okay. It's probably not a good idea to put a selfie up here unless you could take a really professional looking selfie. Here's a couple of other best practices as far as the photo is concerned. It needs to be you and only you. Again, this is not Facebook. So when you and your kitty cat Fluffy, stay over on Facebook. But this is not, unless you have a cat business, okay, and you sell cat food, okay, then a kitty cat is not supposed to be in your picture here, okay? Another best practice is that your face, because this is social media and gets looked at on a phone a lot or smaller screens a lot, your face should take up about 60% of this picture, because that way people will actually be able to see who you are and know who you are and recognize you. Because if it's you from here to here, okay, it will not have the same effect as you with your face front and center.
You know, Jeff, that's an interesting point. I don't think people put enough thought into the fact of, you know, like you said, the face should take up most of the screen. You shouldn't have ancillary outside stuff. People have to remember this. You are always being viewed in the sense of, do you want to hire this person? Do you want to do business with this person?
Yes.
And I don't think of people think enough about that stuff when they just do a simple picture even.
Well, and I know it may be a trite saying, Jay, but you know, you never get a second chance to make a good first impression. So that first impression is what's going to remain with people out here. And if you've got a photo that well, okay, here's a career limiting move. You might have a photo out there that has you drinking a bottle of Jack Daniels at a party someplace. I don't think that's going to be any good for you unless you actually work for Brown Forman and you sell Jack Daniels. Okay, so it's probably not going to help. Okay,
which does go to say, if you are looking for a job, take a look at all of the other social media sites as well, because they are looking.
Absolutely, they will look at this first, but they will look at the others as well.
Yep.
Okay, now we're on to number 3 on the hit parade. Number 3 on the hit parade is right here. It's your name. Okay, it's important. Your name needs to be what you are going to be found as. Now, in the old days, Dick and Richard were 2 different things to LinkedIn. Now, at least Dick and Richard will, if somebody searches for Dick, it will find the Richards as well. Okay, but I got to tell you that Steffi and Stephanie are not the same thing still. So it's really important for you to put a name out here for you to be found the way that you normally get called. If people call you Jeff, use Jeff. Okay, you know, my real name is Jeffrey. Okay, but nobody called me Jeffrey but my mother, and that was only when she was angry at me. Okay. I mean, she'd go, Jeffrey Young, get your butt in here. Okay. And, and I knew I was really in trouble if she used my middle name. Okay. So the point is, nobody calls me Jeffrey. Everybody calls me Jeff. That's why I'm using just Jeff Young. Okay. I want people to be able to find it. And then that's a very common name. So I got to do some other things like the hashtags and things like that to help me get found. Okay. That's why if you want to go find me, go do a Google search for not Jeff Young, but go do a Google search for hashtag the LinkedIn Guru, and the LinkedIn Guru will actually find me. Okay. The other one would find me as well, but it won't find as much. Okay. Then the next one is what LinkedIn calls this piece of real estate is your professional headline. Now, if you don't do anything with this, what will happen with this one is that you will actually get a title in here. So it will be assistant programmer at this, with a title at where you work. Okay. Well, titles are great, and except for the fact that titles are common, everybody's got one. Okay. So the point is that this real estate can be used for you to put keywords and put a call to action to people for them to understand a little bit more about what you do and what you offer, the value that you offer. This really should be, treat this as, I sometimes really call this your Nike Just Do It. This is your brand right here, okay, in words, and sometimes a little bit about pictures, because I've actually got Namaste here because they're the guru kind of thing. I put Namaste in there as well. And yeah, it's okay to use emojis here as long as you do them with a little bit of moderation. Okay. You can't fill it up with that because otherwise it doesn't look professional. But this is how I want people to find me. I want people to find me as the LinkedIn Guru. I want that to represent a teacher. And I want people to understand that I'm a professional networker and I volunteer now as a living, if you will. And I get paid in 3 C's: coffee, conversation, and occasionally chocolate. Okay. And oh, by the way, Chardonnay is a really good C as well. You see, I'm not trying to be too cute there, but the point is it's a conversation starter. It makes people take notice of this, and they'll say something to me when they come to me and talk to me about my profile. Okay. And they found me on this thing because of the fact that was an interesting thing to do. And then another thing here is, as I said, it's a call to action. So I ask people to follow me on LinkedIn because I want people to follow me so that they can see my LinkedIn tips, because I put stuff out here all the time.
Interesting.
Now, again, this is your professional headline. So having a call to action here is important, but you don't have to use up. I've used up pretty much all of the. LinkedIn continues to change things. This used to be about 1 sentence shorter because the please click the follow button wasn't there because LinkedIn only allowed 120 characters. Some folks who have had a professional headline out here for a while don't even realize that LinkedIn raised the limit of that number of characters from 120 to 220. So now you have up to 220 characters to describe yourself like that. Okay. And a lot of people do a really good job of saying what it is that they do and the value that they have. Okay. All right, so now we're on down to about number 5 here. So to review, that's the banner background, that's your picture, that's your name, that's your professional headline. Down here is one that's extremely important as well. This one is, if anything, the only place that you get to actually write a story about yourself. But I got to tell you, it's about, okay, so it says it's about section. Most people would then think that it's about them. Here's a best practice for you in terms of this about section. Make it about your customers, whoever they are. Make it not about what you do, but what value you add to those other folks. Make it about someone else. Now, it's okay to use the word I out here, and you can see that I have actually done that several times. But the point being is that in your story, you've got to tell people what it is that it's kind of like, no, don't make it like you're tuning up for an opera and it sounds like me. Okay. Forget that noise. Okay. Make it about the other folks and make it about what they will see when they come to see this. Now, here's another thing that LinkedIn does. Notice that in my about section, you can actually see here that you can only see the first 3 lines. That's why Those first 3 lines are also very, very important for you to put something in there that makes people want to. Let me introduce you to a buddy of mine on LinkedIn, okay? And my buddy's name is Seymour, okay? You need Seymour to be your friend. You need to do something here in this about section that will make people want to click see more. So a call to action, here's what I've done a second time. I want people to follow me, so I say, please click the follow button. And also I say, here I am as a professional networker and the LinkedIn guru. I've provided nearly 200, and that's all you get to see about this. Oh, and by the way, if you're doing this on a phone, it is actually even shorter, okay? Because it gives you 3 lines, but it gives you even a less number of characters. So it might actually go, you know, I'm professional networker, LinkedIn guru, trainer, I have provided, and then stops. Okay, so
Right.
Be cognizant of what it looks like on the mobile devices as well, but do something here that makes people want to click the see more button, because once they do, now you got them. Now you can give your entire story. Okay, this is what I do. This is what I have done. This is my bio. Okay, and as a speaker, I even said down here that I provided the text below to use as a speaker bio, because I've been a speaker now for 13 years and doing LinkedIn training and those kind of things for 13 years. So I usually am up in front of a crowd and I want people to have this bio. And usually if I'm going to go to a chamber and actually do something for a chamber of commerce, they want a bio. So there it is. I provide it right there. Okay. And I even give them something as a reward for doing something down here at the bottom. If you actually took the time and have read this far, here's your reward. Copy and paste this link, okay? Because that's a link to all my tips of the week for the last 2.5 to 3 years. So it's there. And again, I sign off by, again, a brand. I sign off by using the word namaste. So that's important as well, but this is the one where it makes the most sense for you to put the most text in here. I think you have about 2,500 characters that you can actually put in here. And it should be, again, about the value that you add, not about just you as a person, but what you provide in terms of your customers.
Yeah, and a lot of this really crosses back over. And again, for everybody that's listening, it really crosses back over again. If you're providing a service, you know, what problem are you solving? How are you helping people, even though it's from your perspective, but it's how are you solving their issues? Or if you're looking for a job, make sure you put on there reflections of what you might do in your resume about you, what makes you unique. Why would they want to read your resume over somebody else? Yeah. So that is a great opportunity there to share that, because they're going to read it.
That's a perfect description, Jay. The what problems you solve. Why would people want to hire you? Okay, and I mean, and hire you from the standpoint of being a service provider, or hire you in terms of being an employee. That's what that section's all about. Okay, you've got to differentiate yourself there, and that's the best place that you can do it.
Yep.
Because you get the most text there. Okay, one more section, and that's this section down here that I got to scroll down to. It's called a featured section. That featured section is a place where you can actually park stuff on and feature it on your profile. So you can actually add a whole bunch of stuff here. Now, I want to show you how to do this in case if you don't have one. Here's what you're going to have to do. If you've already created a featured section, all you have to do is scroll down to your featured section and click the plus sign. Okay, but if you've never created one, here's how you actually have to create that the first time. You actually have to use this button up here. Notice it moves around a little bit, but it's up here. Add a profile section. If you've never created a featured section, click add a profile section and tell it you want to do featured. And then by clicking featured, you'll get the fact that you can feature a post, you can feature an article, you can feature a link to someplace else, you can just feature a piece of media. And that media, I don't believe, it could be sometimes a video, it could sometimes be a picture or something along those lines, but that's what you can feature in there. And this is so focused on the media aspect of social media that's where this one really becomes important, because when people come to look at this, they will actually see pictures, and those pictures might actually make them want to click on the picture and see what's behind the picture. Okay, so, and I want to illustrate this, and I want to give people a tip that is about this one. I'm gonna click back and refresh my profile again. This is what you'd see if you come to my profile. I want to give you a little tip here. One of the things that I can't do for you is I can't sit with you and I can't build your profile with you. But what I can do is I can point you at some place right now that will actually give you an assessment of your LinkedIn profile so that you can actually go see whether or not you're putting the right things at the right places, okay? In order for you to find that, please come to my profile. So look me up on LinkedIn, scroll down to my featured section, and either click the See All here or click the right arrow here and go over to the fourth one where you'll see the words Shelly Elslinger. And I got to give a shout out to Shelly because Shelly's a very good friend of mine in Toronto who teaches LinkedIn at the University of Toronto. And she's created a PDF document here that is an assessment that says, are you simply on LinkedIn or truly LinkedIn? And if you actually open that, it will actually open that document so that you can then look through this document and take an assessment where it talks about, do you have a customized background photo? That's the first thing I talked about today. Okay, connecting you to an industry, business, interest, or specialty, etc. Answer yes or no. If you answer yes, you're good. If you answer no, you should consider doing something more. And oh, by the way, I want to show you one more little trick, and that is that since you've got this window open, you can actually download this PDF. Here's how that happens, though. If you go to here, watch closely, okay, and I'm glad this is being recorded so that way people can see it later on, okay. If you open this document like I have, you can page through it to your heart's content, backwards and forwards with the right and left arrows. But if you want to download it, you've got to look at this document in large format. In other words, expanded format, full screen format. That's what this little icon down here in the lower right-hand corner means. Click that icon. Now it brings it up to a big full-size thing. You were having trouble reading it, right? Now at least I can read it. Even these old eyes can read it, okay? But the other thing that allows you to do is that now that this is here, up in the upper right-hand corner of this window is this icon, which is a download icon, and that will actually allow me to actually download that entire document and drop it on my hard drive or wherever else I want to drop it. Okay? So let's get back out of there and go back to here. And I think I'm about out of time. That worked out quite well. I will stop sharing my screen and bring it back to you. After you, my friend.
Well, that really is great, Jeff. That's a lot of information. And one of the nice things is we'll put this out there. Hopefully we'll have these up on the library inside the COPEC portal soon. So anybody that's listening, you can go back, you can review this presentation today. You could look at other ones with Jeff or other speakers. We should have that up hopefully here before the end of the month, but we're not sure exactly when. And for those of you attending, make sure you please check out the portal for other programs. Also sign up for the newsletter and reach out to Jeff. If you have questions or concerns, he is a great resource in this area. If you want presentations, check out copeceducation.org. Jeff, thank you so much. This is a lot of great information. And anything else you want to say?
Well, yeah, I would point them back to the programs that happen every weekday at 2 p.m. There are tons of great stuff out here. And again, Central Ohio Professional Education Council, COPEC, okay, is here to provide free education to the public. There aren't that many organizations out there that have a mission to provide free education to the public. And please take advantage of it. You will be glad you did.
Well, thank you very much, Jeff, for being part of it. And thanks everybody for listening. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
Take care. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.